Hello, this is Nicholas Acosta, and I'm coming here to do another video for all of my subscribers. It's been a busy week for Apple, and WWDC is wrapping up. Today is the last day, but man, iOS 11, macOS 10.13 High Sierra, tvOS 11, and also watchOS 4. Man, those are some great operating systems. And all the the developer betas are out. Public betas will be available next month. But I am not going to install the iOS beta, or the macOS beta just yet because it's beta 1, and they're not stable releases yet for the first 3 or 4 betas. But this has been one of the biggest how should I say, this has been a very big conference, one of the biggest conferences, WWDC 2017, and man, I can't get over the HomePod that was announced on Monday, and I can't get over Music Kit for developers to have access to the Apple Music library. They have a framework now with APIs, and I can't get over the whole VR kit and AR kit for virtual reality and augmented reality. And it's coming to the Mac. They're starting to build the groundwork for that. Things like APFS coming to Mac OS. They've been laying it. They announced it when iOS 10.3 came out. They announced APFS, which is the Apple file system. They brought it to iOS. It gets better in iOS 11, but now it's fully coming to macOS High Sierra this fall. So iOS 11 and macOS High Sierra will be released this fall, usually the middle of September. So I don't know if I'm gonna get the HomePod yet because it's $349, but it's a good speaker to start with. I mean, I do have an Amazon Echo Dot, which I have plugged into some Bose speakers. And I also have the 2016 MacBook Pro, which I love a whole lot. And I have the first generation iPad Pro. Oh, and I can't forget. Yes, they had a lot of announcements. We got to see the new 10.5-inch iPad Pro, second generation. And the thing that I thought was amazing was that you can now use USB-C adapters, and you can plug in your USB-C devices. This was cool. And the fact that you can now have up to 512 gigabytes of storage on the second generation iPad Pro was remarkable. Because look, the iPad Pro is a computer. It's with all the apps that we have. Yes, you can use this as a full computer. You can use this, you have the smart keyboard. I have a smart keyboard that came with this iPad Pro that I got. I got this iPad Pro when I was in a college program last year. So I'm really enjoying that. And you have so many professional applications like Procreate, and brushes and all these other photo editing and drawing apps and music making apps and video editing apps that, yes, you could use this as a computer. You have everything from the iWork apps, Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, the iLife apps, iMovie, GarageBand, Clips. What we don't have for iOS is Logic Pro, and I wonder if that'll ever make it to iOS. We have Logic Pro for macOS, but we don't have it for iOS. Hey, Apple, if you're listening to this video, please think about that. See if you can make a version of Logic Pro available to iPad Pro users, because that would be great. So, with that out the way, the keynote was terrific. The State of the Union was terrific. For us developers, we now have betas to Xcode 9, which is the SDK for building iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS apps. We have Swift 4. We have a new version of the Swift Playgrounds app that was just released on Monday for iPad, version 1.5, which allows us to control robots, Bluetooth-enabled robots and drones and things like that. We also are looking forward to the new Swift Playgrounds version 2 when iOS 10 is released and macOS is released to the public. So Swift Playgrounds version 2 will, of course, have the iOS 11 SDK and will feature the Swift 4 programming language. There have been so many different types of technologies that have been introduced. New accessibility features for those who use VoiceOver, switch control. I won't go into that here because, of course, I'm under an NDA or a non-disclosure agreement with Apple, and yes, we do not want to talk about these things without their permission. But overall, what do I think about WWDC? It was great, and the fact that they did a presentation on on podcasts and how they're making the podcasts app better in iOS 11 makes it a beautiful presentation. So for those of you who want to learn about what's new in terms of submitting podcasts to the iTunes store, check that out. The last I checked, the presentation is gonna be today at around 4:50, if I'm not mistaken, their time. That would be 7:50 our time, Eastern time. By the way, I live here in New York, so yes, that would be Eastern time. They talked a lot about machine learning, Siri's getting better. So they're just updating everything across the board. And I will do another video as the time goes on, as the weeks and the months go on, and tell you everything else that's new in iOS 11 and all the other operating systems. But with that, I want to thank everyone for listening to my video, and have a nice day.